Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Hi, I'm Katia.
And I'm Steven.
And this is So Sydney. Oh, no, it's not.
Let's do it again.
But it's not. This week on So Fucking What?
The dinner party drama, all the school getaway camp stuff. Fuck. Go again.
Literally just do that. We're just going to get into it.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Where do we start? We're back.
I know exactly where we start.
I know.
Justice for Jamie.
Oh.
That is where I am starting.
Oh
I'm
my
starting off
God.
strong. They are doing my girl wrong. Justice for Jamie, Katia. I'm sorry.
We ride at dawn.
I'm fucking riled up. I will ride for my WOG queen,
can tell.
okay? I love her. Jamie, if you watch or listen to this, and I know you don't, I love you. You are my WOG queen. I will fight for you. I don't care what those producers, editors, or other experiment people have done or said to you. You deserve better. You deserve better.
You know what? I genuinely don't know how Carina or no one else got why she was pissed off. Like,
Yeah, right?
okay, and I say all of this, I don't condone her. Like, she did take it far and she was angry, but like, as you would
Because
be.
she's what? She can talk.
I know. And I'm kind of just sitting there last night being like, what part of this does Carina not get?
Totally. It felt like she was willfully ignorant to try and be devil's advocate and blah, blah, blah.
She's an empath? Like,
No,
since
girl.
when was that an
No,
excuse?
you're a bitch. Sorry, that was rude. But justice for Jamie. She deserves better. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I completely agree.
Thank
and you know
you.
what? I was
you.
really, really impressed that despite her being so angry, when she came to the dinner party last night and just presented exactly what happened and exactly how it made her feel, literally step by step, like that's therapy speak. Like, this
Yeah.
is what happened and this is how it made me feel. She could not have presented her argument more rationally or
But
fairer.
still, she was the bad guy.
And that was because
Yeah.
it was just totally invalidated
Yeah.
by this woman wearing a bizarre dress over her head and being
Oh my
like,
God, yeah.
I'm an
Well,
empath.
even-
I don't see why you're upset. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Can we talk about the outfits a little bit as well? Oh my God, what was going on there?
People were power dressing.
They were- oh my God, you're
theory.
right.
Everyone knew it was going to be a shit show and was like, all
At
right.
least I look good.
We're Wim Hofing and we're kind of going to do a power stance before we walk in. Like, Jamie was dressed in the colour she was seeing, you know?
Yep. 100%.
So
I just cannot believe I was watching the entire way being like, how can you be this horrible to Jamie? Also, she's getting the villain edit. Why is she getting the villain edit? Do you think she's getting the villain edit? Or is that just me
getting the
being
villain edit.
overzealous?
I think she was very aggressive in how she went about it, but I think what she was saying was correct and true. Two things can be true at the same time.
You're right.
And
You're
if
right.
she had been validated as to how she was feeling, she wouldn't have actually got angry enough to then
True.
start to make some low blows. So it was just, I think, a human reaction to being completely denied of any sense or reason as to why she was upset.
You know, this is a good representation of it because I've gone in very emotional and you're very, very
I know.
measured.
I know.
You're Carina. I'm
And
kidding.
I'm like, you should be emotional. I
Thank
am
you.
inside.
Thank you. That's
My
what Carina should have
feelings are
said.
hidden in, but like, yeah, be angry.
But does this
Go
not
for
all
it,
come
babes.
back down to just Lauren being absolutely fucking horrible?
What I love, and
Oh
I'm
my
not going to lie,
Tell me.
I mean, I hate her. I hate
And so
her.
does all of Australia.
But I kid you not, pretty iconic that she's
Yeah.
not even at the dinner party.
Oh my God,
and
can we talk
able
about
to
the boycott?
cause this much, just like shit.
And she knows exactly what she's doing.
She was rubbing her little
There's
fingers
a part
like
of me that
this.
fully respects the whole, yeah, no, Clint, we're just friends at this point. But I'm going to use him.
I love that she's fully used Clint and dragged him out of the experiment just because it doesn't look like she's pulled an Elliot.
No, exactly.
She's done exactly what he's done.
She is following Elliot's footsteps right now.
Oh my God.
And
my God.
The boycott dinner absolutely fucking sent me, Katia.
It's kind of iconic.
I was like, oh my God, there's a part of me that just has to respect the fact that she is bringing this boy, this man, this Tasmanian golfer along To just be like, yeah, I'm using you now to get back at these
my
people.
God.
Sorry, no, I don't like you. I think you're a fine friend, but you're with me now. You're my little lapdog.
Yeah, if you want to know
For
what
my
a simp
schemes.
looks like, that's,
Yeah.
your lesson 101.
Yeah.
But going back to this dinner party, so we obviously have established that Carina fully missed the mark on this. What did we think about Ree's apology / response?
Non-apology.
No, I think she did apologize, didn't she?
Yeah.
Like, kind of.
Maybe I'm way too on Team Jamie right now. I've been blinded.
You are like seeing one thing and one thing only, and that is
That
your
is,
girl
Jamie
having
was in the
done
right
wrong
the entire
by-
time.
Yeah.
No, look,
It was a pissy apology. I'll give you that.
It was minimal. I can agree. She did probably mean it, but it wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot there. I don't think Jamie felt very validated.
No. I actually
If
think
Jamie
she
has
was-
one fan, it's me. If she has 1,000 fans, I'm one of them. If she has 0 fans, I'm dead. That's all I have to say.
I love how like Jamie is a trigger word in this podcast now.
Justice for Jamie.
I'm like, okay, wow, we clearly feel some strong things. And look, don't get me wrong, I love her, and I think what happened to her at that dinner party. What happened to her at that getaway was really
my God.
uncool because she has throughout this entire season stood up for everyone else when they
Absolutely.
haven't had a
She
voice.
is a girl's girl.
And she's done that, and
Yeah.
she's put herself in awkward and uncomfortable situations. And
She's
when she
brave.
actually needed,
She's loyal. Sorry. Please continue.
We can just finish the podcast here. Like, Jamie, we love.
Justice for
Done.
Jamie. We're done.
gone.
We're out.
That's all we need
Episode's
to really establish.
fucking over. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
But look, there was an apology, but it just feels like everyone was against her. And I was like, what the fuck? I was watching the entire episode being like, guys, girls, what are you doing?
It was just pissy, to be honest.
Maybe-
And it just was like so. And look, even though Ree apologized and for some reason Jamie accepted this kind of half-assed apology.
Because she's a girl's girl.
But like the excuse was, I'm just, it takes me a while to process things. It's like, what does that even mean? If you're not a confrontational person, say that.
Yeah.
Even then, not really an excuse. But it takes me a while to process things. What? Is there
Process
something
what?
wrong with you?
What's
What's going on?
Yeah, what's the issue here?
Why? Yeah. Your friend is being attacked
I
and
know.
yelled at. Like, what's there to process?
Exactly.
Stand up for her.
I got to be honest, this might have been the most engaging episode of the entire
God, it
season
was
for me.
good.
Just as a little side note, mainly because for this entire season so far, for the 24 episodes that we've had so far, I'm pretty sure I can't do maths. I went to art school. This entire time we have been shown how lovely Jamie and Dave both have been. They're both lovely, friends with everyone. And anytime we've come to a commitment ceremony or a dinner or whatever, they're very much painted in a positive light, which I think is an accurate depiction of them as well. The fact that they're both saying the L word to each other, blah, 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 all of that. For us to get to this point where Jamie might be the bad guy or everyone's ganging up on her, that's what pulled me right fucking back in. There might have been a few episodes where I'm like, okay, here we go again. Here's another episode. But as soon as we were at the cliffhanger for this, I was like, I need to fucking watch this right now.
Like
what are
when-
they doing to my girl?
When we said last week they've exhausted every plot line, that was before we realized that you could possibly actually make a plot line that villainized Jamie. Like, that's how much we're
Yeah.
scraping the barrel at this point.
But
right?
hey, no one works harder than the producers of
Oh
MAFS.
my
I salute you.
God.
I salute you because that's how you pulled me right back in.
Oh my God.
I literally had to start watching the next episode straight away.
Literally.
I did not want to wait. I was like, oh, what? So MAFS pulled me right back in. Good work,
If that
guys.
happened to you, what happened in the fire pit at the getaway, and you were Jamie, and you had friends that just sat there like stunned mullets.
I would be livid.
Yeah.
I would be livid.
Agreed.
So should we go over to school camp then?
I think that's our time to go over to
Absolutely.
Byron Bay Schoolies.
We're working backwards this week. Let's go to schoolies. And I love that it is absolutely, it feels like watching a sleepaway camp. Like
It's
genuinely,
so
that is
childish.
school camp. It is. As soon as the first of the 2 episodes of
All
this
of them
getaway
like,
was
running
I
to
know.
bags of bed. I could
It's
see why
quite
Lauren
cute.
was like,
It's
I'm
quite
not
cute.
partaking
I
in this.
know.
I was like, you know what? That's probably a
I
fair
can't
call
blame
in
her
this
entirely
place.
for having the ick for this trip, but let's not mince words. She's being fucking horrible.
Oh my God.
She's just being a bitch for the sake of being a bitch.
just
She's just
miserable.
Yes, exactly. But I think it was right as she got there that she decided, oh, wow, maybe this show isn't for me, but I'm going to ride it on out anyway. I'm going to make it everyone else's problem. And you know what, Lauren? You did. You
know
really
what
did.
I don't understand is that if you go and say, oh, it's not like this show isn't what I expected or this, that, whatever. Season 1, season 2, you can probably get away with that excuse.
Sure.
It's season 12 of Australia's largest reality
Yes,
TV show.
the most popular show in Australia, not just locally, but internationally. You know what you're getting into.
What you're getting into, you know who tends to go on the show, you know the vibes. So why, especially after then asking to come back for a second time, are you kind of going, oh, I'm so above this?
But you know what? You know what? Every single group trip that anyone has ever gone on always has one bitch.
There's always one Lauren.
There's always one. There's
Yep.
always one.
The one
And you know what?
cries when she doesn't get a gluten-free pasta. We all have that friend. I mean, gluten-free, you know,
It's gotta
celiac
make it a
disease is a
problem
real
for
thing. But you know what I
everyone.
mean.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, such
I
a
love
pain in the
this.
ass.
I love this. Should we talk about the hilarious elephant
my
in the
God.
room as well? Because, oh my God, fucking so funny. Ryan.
Ryan.
Oh, that,
The
like
most.
there are so many layers to this. Can I go over the layers?
Please start.
Oh my God. First of all, don't take yourself so fucking seriously. Your friends are on a trip. And every friend group, this is the way that friend groups form. They find one thing to lightly jab you with in a funny way, but then he took it too seriously. But to be fair, what they're lightly jabbing him about is hilariously stupid. Like, he deserves to have the shit taken out of him for this because it's fucking funny and dumb. I'm sorry, Katia, I have heard that you have scientifically debunked his claim that he has to save his testosterone for the workout that he has to do to be nice and big and fucking strong, mate. And he can't.
that accent?
That's me being masculine.
Oh my God, that's you
That's
as an
straight
alpha
Stephen.
male.
That's heterosexual Stephen, which only comes out when I'm pretending. Only comes out with one side of my family. Hope you're not watching.
Oh my God, this man so cannot just take the piss out of himself.
No, he takes
at
himself
all.
too seriously.
He is Timu Andrew Tate.
He is.
And he's actually insufferable.
Yes.
Like, he's so intense.
That's
and
why
he's just not
he's-
reading the room.
That's why that couple is so fucking perfect.
I
Are they
know,
not? Are
I
they
know.
not? From day dot, from the moment we saw these two together, we knew we were going to get to this point of seeing him with his mask off. Like, the boys are trying to be blokey mates with each other, taking the mickey, taking the piss.
I still just don't get either of them.
No, no.
I thought
But a
as
part
I
of-
would get to know the characters more,
That you'd
I would
understand.
kind of get them. And I actually just still don't.
Okay,
Like,
here's
I'm
my
still
hot take with
confused.
it. Here's my hot take. We are seeing the exact kind of relationship dynamic as we are seeing with Clint and Lauren, except that Lauren is saying it outright. What we're seeing is that both these two don't understand that they are using each other to create an image for themselves. Ryan thinking that he's the alpha male right now. They're both just assuming roles, but they're unaware of it. They're not aware that they're doing that to each other.
That's
So that they can
interesting.
convince themselves that they're a power couple. At least Lauren knows that she's not getting the alpha male from Clint, but she's going to project that way, and she knows it.
I'm sorry. At the point that you're calling yourself an alpha male,
I know,
usually
that's
it
when you-
means you're fucking not
Exactly,
one, right?
exactly.
Lawrence,
That's-
and I will touch on this further, but Lauren's perception of this alpha male, I think she needs a fucking dictionary, right?
No, yeah.
Like, in what world Does someone doing the dishes like render them inherently non-masculine?
I know that moment I was like, oh, she's an idiot.
She's actually just moronic.
I know.
Like, if anything, if a man is, or if anyone is too insecure in their identity to do the dishes, maybe that's a sign they're
That's
not the
her
alpha.
being insecure in someone else. There are so many layers to heteronormativity that I would love to unpack on an episode of So Fucking What after this series is done with you, Katya. But I fear it would fall on deaf ears if Jackie, Ryan, Lauren, Clint, if any of them tuned in to listen.
Yeah.
I went to art school. Can you tell?
Yeah, never.
Sorry,
So,
wow. There's so much to unpack
back
here.
to this testosterone
Back to that.
talk,
Back to alpha
because
male Ryan.
Alpha male Ryan, as we all heard on
God,
this week's episode.
Why do I love that? Love to hate this couple
in
so much. Oh my
His
God.
times that he has sex with Jackie, and it always has to be
When
after
he's not
the
at the
gym,
gym.
because he needs to save his testosterone for his gains.
I believe it's days that he isn't working out at all.
But-
Because all that testosterone had to go to not just the workout, but the muscle recovery, babe.
So to add, before I go into the science behind
Here we
this,
go,
and
here we go.
Trust me, I did the research. I was in those medical journals.
I've
right?
got my drink. I'm
But
ready to hear.
Jackie has come out onto her personal Instagram this week and also revealed that he would save his testosterone and refuse to have sex before dinner parties.
Shut
as
up.
well. And
Oh
look,
my God.
after last night's episode, you've got to give it to him. That was
That was
combative.
rough. That was rough.
It was intense. I would want to save my energy as
Yep,
well.
yep.
But the maths and the science aren't adding up, because despite Ryan's, very primal beliefs.
Yes, yeah.
We'll call them that.
Sure.
Testosterone levels really hardly fluctuate at all.
They don't have
after
anything to do with
sex,
this.
gym, or any of that.
No.
If anything, they are higher
After you've
sex.
had sex. Like, is he a fucking idiot? What? Everyone knows that working out more, especially when you're in your 20s and your 30s, makes your sex drive super fucking high. There is a reason for that.
Well, I just don't understand, why. Where
Because
has he got this information
from Andrew Tate or Joe Rogan?
Yeah,
Let's not
literally,
mince words.
literally.
Let's just say it as it is. He's got it from the fucking internet.
Can you imagine how much more muscly Ryan could be?
He could
if
be.
he was having
That's another workout.
sex.
That's another fucking workout.
But the maths.
It's not mathin', but it's...
Oh, he's fucked up big
Yeah.
time, and he's lived his whole life.
And you know what? It also comes from
self-abstaining.
insecurity.
Oh,
It
there's
also
some
comes from
Catholic guilt
insecurity.
there for sure.
100%.
For
100%.
sure.
He needs to make sure, it's oh my God, it's the fucking giggles he does around the boys too when he's uncomfortable. He's like, don't make a joke about me. Don't do that.
It's just
God, I feel like this is therapy for me.
Genuinely. The number of people that I actually even somewhat am able to tolerate on my screen is slowly
It's
dwindling
dwindling.
down.
Just down to Jamie and Dave.
just
Justice for
Jamie and
Jamie.
Dave.
Justice for Jamie.
Literally.
I cannot wait until this show is over and Channel 9 whisks them away to become talent. Some kind of talent. I know it's happening for Jamie. I know it's going to happen. They will pull her in to be some kind of personality if she doesn't become some kind of lifestyle influencer or whatever after the show is over. They would be really dumb to not give her some proper media training and bring her in as a personality at the very least. At the very least. But that's my media brain coming in. That's my media brand.
Interesting.
Because I would. She's so
I wonder
likable.
what she will do after this, because she's really followed the rules very closely this
Yeah.
season. She's been a little bit of a producer's pet, which is absolutely fine.
Yep.
And so we
She's
haven't really
fallen
heard
in love.
much.
She's fallen in love.
I have bad news for you.
Don't you don't you
I know you
fucking
had a
dare.
hard week.
I'm gonna chuck a paw. No. Through the wall. Should we
Tonight on So Fucking What? Steven
Drama.
punches a hole in Katya's door.
because don't break that news to me. You know what? I want to live
I
in
won't.
ignorant bliss
I'll
until
let
this
you
season
live
is
in
over.
ignorant bliss, and then I'll
Because
tell you
they've
the
been
bad
saying
news.
the L word. But should we go back now? There's so much we could unpack
Turn back time.
from the school camp, but I think we should go back to the commitment ceremony because there's one thing we obviously need to touch on, but at first we need to have an in memoriam of all the couples that we've lost this week.
Morena and Tony. Morena.
Oh, girl.
The woman that you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we bring up...
That's a lot of women.
Should we bring up something you brought up on a previous episode of the pap shots that we got?
Oh, my God.
And the cafe across the road from Hotel MAFS.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell that story once more?
I will. So obviously we all know that Morena and Tony, both said leave in this week's commitment ceremony.
And gosh, you know what? I hate to say it. I actually feel bad for Tony. I actually do.
Do you?
Look at the way that I'm talking as well.
Yeah.
There's a bit of the wog side of Stephen coming through.
I feel indifferent. I feel like if you get through like 6 weeks of MAFS and then suddenly go, oh, by the way,
I want a baby.
Yeah. I'd be a bit pissed off.
Let's be real. That's a bit of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a bit of bullshit.
So true.
But she was dramatic.
Oh my gosh.
As well. So dramatic. Oh my God, plug?
I thought that it was going to be something actually bigger happen because when Morena left the show, she did so against like any production standards. Like it was very public. She was literally sitting on the curb in front of the Green Square apartments with all of her suitcases and none of the crew around her acknowledged her. So it was really weird and we thought maybe something really bad had happened.
Yeah.
Because it was just so abnormal for them to do that. Usually when couples leave the experiment, it's behind closed doors, out the back entrance. No one's going to see
and of course,
so we don't spoil it.
It is in front of other people or crew specifically. We know that there is a friendliness and familiarity between some crew and some contestants. Like that,
totally.
That, we see this from other MAFS reporters that are always around. Yeah. So it's very, very out of the blue. But Morena...
So she's sitting on this curb looking all sullen and then she's getting papped because all of the paps are there and they're like, why is she here with all of her bags? And then up comes from the Green Square cafes this barista.
Insane.
Who comes right up to her and like takes a photo of her. And everyone's like, well, that's...
While laughing.
A bit weird.
Yeah.
And laughing at the same time. And so one of the paparazzi apparently were like, oh, like, why are you taking a photo? And he said, I'm sending it to all the other local businesses to write good riddance because she's been a fucking nightmare. That's paraphrased. But
of course.
That was the kind of sentiment.
And if none of the other crew are also talking to her.
Green Square.
There you go. And I can't imagine what she must have been like to the other crew as well.
Oh
if even they're not being like, oh, see you.
I did love the very dramatic entrance scene.
Right.
Like she was at the Olympics or something.
Leaving
I think people
Tony
are taking
to go in
this
by
too
himself.
seriously.
Entering
we all just need to realize this is a very, very dumb TV show.
Of course, it's super dramatic and the producers know what they're doing to build the drama.
I think the contestants forget that though.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? That's because we are, 6 weeks in? And even we're forgetting. As well.
Literally.
Is it literally 7 weeks in?
I have no idea.
Who knows?
Time means nothing
this
in the world
was,
of
I
MAFS.
think, the 6th week of MAFS. Wow.
I think that sounds about right.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts, though, just to keep going through this commitment ceremony, was just... I have to talk about my favorites once again. How lovely it was getting Jamie and Dave up on the couch and them just talking. In fact, we were panning away from them talking about how perfect everything was to show how much panic they were giving to other contestants.
Yeah.
Like Athena and Adrian being like, oh my God, why don't you love me that way, babe?
Oh my God. Honestly, this couple can do no wrong. Like they have been perfect throughout the season.
No.
They've not had any drama between the two of them up until, I guess, this week, but that wasn't really between the two of them. But they've been like interesting enough that they're not, a TJ and Beth that you forget they exist half the time.
You mean the plants? You mean the plants?
The
I'm
industry
convinced
plants.
at this point that they are paid actors.
I'm just confused why they're there. They're literally dead space.
Yeah, even during the commitment ceremony.
I'm sure they're great people.
No, yeah, totally. I think you're great actors, whatever.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I love how they got maybe 30 seconds of screen time on the commitment ceremony. Then did they do anything during school camp? Did they?
No.
Did we see them at all during the dinner party?
Like, yes, we saw them and, acknowledged their existence, but like that was it, honestly.
Well, thank you for your service. If they leave next week, I probably won't even remember.
You won't even notice.
I won't even notice, which is a shame. I hope their modelling careers took off a little bit more.
My mum called me today and she goes, and this goes to show, like, we're paying a lot more attention than most people because it's our job.
Yeah.
But my mum calls me and she goes, "Where's Billy?" And I was like, "Babes,
That was last week.
that was more than last week."
Oh my God,
I
are you
think.
serious?
I think that was like that's fucking old news.
Shit, that's a shame. I will never forget him dropping off his fish tank
I know.
to our favourites, Jamie and Dave.
So then, what are we thinking about Adrian and Defina?
Oh my God, you know what?
Because they're now back on again, apparently.
I fucking loved how much the other contestants were. Are we calling them contestants? Is that what we call them?
Contestants, participants.
Participants, couples. I love how much the other couples were fucking just ganging up on Adrian, being like, if you were saying this about my wife, I'm gonna have a fucking go at you. Love the coaching from the producers there, being like, yep, go off at Adrian during the commitment ceremony. It was great, and just everyone backing up Athena in the middle of it.
I have a different take.
Okay.
I think I was surprised that they both wrote stay.
I know. My 2 cents on that is that both of them choosing to stay, it's giving bad situationship you have after a big breakup that you can't get out of. Like, you have your big breakup, then you get into a situationship that isn't healthy for either of you, but neither of you want to leave.
It's giving I want another 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Anyway,
We gotta
that's
get to
a story for
333.
another day. Yeah. Adrian's got to 333 and he will not leave the experiment until he does. And he will also be featuring for the next 5 years on MAFS.
That's our man.
I don't love this. I'm not going to lie. I get really, obviously we've seen the absolute catastrophe that was Friends and Family Week, and just the really poor behaviour from Adrian. And I feel like John Atkin kind of coming at Athena being like, well, what do you like about him? What do you like about him?
Yeah.
Like, the MAFS experts see everything that's happening. They would know that really the relationship dynamic between the two of them is super, super toxic and arguably quite emotionally abusive.
Yeah, at this point, do we not just give them the power to make an executive decision to say, sorry, you shouldn't be together?
Well,
take away the choice from them.
At the point that there's, levels of abuse and really clearly some bad behavior happening.
Absolutely.
They probably should have that option. And I mean, you could definitely apply that to the instance of Paul.
Of course,
for John
which we will
Atkin,
touch on.
Saying to Athena, what do you like about him? What do you like about him?
Yeah.
It's like, she doesn't like him.
No, we know that neither of them like each other. And unfortunately, the fact that we keep seeing them staying with each other, it feels like we get the curtain pulled back a little bit. Like, the fun of watching this show is seeing maybe some genuine connections forming, seeing some relationships happening. But when we see these two that obviously don't work together every single week, choose to stay, it really shows the cables. It shows everything from behind the scenes of, they just want to stay on the show for their own personal gain.
Yeah.
I hate to say it outright because I want to believe them. I want to believe what they're saying on the show too. But at some point, why the fuck are you staying every week? At least one of you say leave.
Look, I mean, I think you can't say why are you staying necessarily, because if she's being emotionally manipulated, then it's not kind of fair for us to be like, well, why is she still putting up with this?
No, totally.
Because it's so easy and common for people too. But I think then John being like, well, what do you like about him? What do you like about him? It's like, don't you see what's happening?
Exactly.
Don't you see what's going on?
expert.
You're the supposed expert.
Exactly. And it kind of felt like all of this outcry as well was happening in the midst of this with everyone else ganging up on Adrian, with everyone else from the sidelines commenting on this too. It just felt like it was building up to a breaking point, and that breaking point just still hasn't happened.
Yeah, I feel like they missed the
point?
mark with this one. I think if there was this big blow up at Adrian where the experts finally genuinely actually called him out.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to see. We didn't want to see.
I want to hear either the other contestants or John saying, you should leave.
Yeah.
You should be the one choosing to leave here, because Athena is not going to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. What do we think about Lauren and Clint? Fake couple.
I mean, at this point, she's admitted it.
Yeah.
She has said outright, oh, I just see him as a friend, but I'm not leaving the show.
Clint is such a simp and he's
He
trying
is.
so hard.
He's trying. I got to give him credit for trying.
But
like nothing's
for
happening
what?
there. For her personal gain right now, which isn't, I'm not saying so she can stay on the show for personal clout or whatever. She's staying on there, the part that I respect, out of spite. She is staying on this show and using him out of spite for the other couples. And a part of me is like, go off, mean girl, go off.
I just don't understand what he sees in her. Like, how dumb is everyone?
neither.
Like, she's a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's just my opinion.
We've been saying it. We've been saying it. That's the name of this episode. Justice for Jamie and Lauren's a bitch.
Yeah, Lauren's a bitch.
Oh, I think we got to talk about the elephant in the room, though. The big cliffhanger that left us waiting for this entire weekend and up until Sunday night when we were watching the commitment ceremony. Were they going to kick Paul off the show? And let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Surprise, surprise.
They did not, which is
They
what we
did
called.
not.
We called it, did we not?
Yeah, of course. And they should have.
They absolutely should have.
Oh my gosh.
And for the sake of the show and for, keeping it going, they did not. They put it, I just couldn't believe
that
what
was
I was watching.
such an uncomfortable episode
It
to
was.
watch. And like he's just pouring at her and like grabbing her the whole time. And I'm
The
just like,
fucking
get
crying into
off
the
her.
pillow.
Oh my
It's
God. The
classic.
crying.
It's classic. I don't want to say abuser behavior, but it is.
It's given that
It is
vibe.
on the spectrum of manipulation.
Yeah.
It is I've done this really bad thing. I'm
now
going
I'm
to
the victim.
perform how bad it was. And I'm the victim of myself.
Yeah,
and we're all
literally.
victims of me. It's extremely performative. And obviously we're on a show. We are performing every second, sure. But it really feels like that the show missed a mark by not taking a stronger stand. They did take a stand. I will give them that. They did the bare minimum of putting up the DV hotline during ad breaks and saying that, this isn't acceptable. And they did stretch it out to make a strong point of it. But I feel like in a situation like this, autonomy should have been stripped from Paul in this situation and he should have been ejected from the show.
Completely agree.
I do feel bad. I'm forgetting her name all of a sudden. Oh my gosh.
Carina.
I do feel bad for Carina also choosing to stay, but that shouldn't, I don't think she could have been in the right position to make that decision.
It's not up to her.
No, exactly.
It's not up to her.
She doesn't owe him anything.
I struggle to believe that this was the first time anything like this happened for him on national TV.
Exactly.
With someone he's not known for long. Highly doubt that.
It's the biggest red flag in the world.
It's so
to
many,
the point where
yeah.
people make a joke out of it. There is a name for people that do that. The meme of a Kyle who punches a wall. Now we have another name for it. We have a Paul. And sorry if I'm being a shitty man right now and talking over you. I have big feelings about it.
you're not at all.
You also have big feelings about it.
But I think we also talked about it, a lot last week. And we know that, yes, he should have been kicked off and we know why he should have. And, to nobody's real surprise, he wasn't.
And
so
there's also the pretty serious aspect that New South Wales Police have launched an investigation.
Yeah, they have. I don't really know.
I don't know many of the details too.
Well, they haven't released anything.
Yes.
Because it's obviously an ongoing investigation. But I do know that they've seized the kind of extra material and filming stuff from around that scene.
We don't know what sparked
piece it all
the
together.
investigation, whether it was the episode itself and concerns from external people. Because again, this investigation, as far as we know, was only launched after the episode went to air.
Yeah.
This wasn't something that was continuous from before.
No. What I think is interesting, and now that we've rounded out the commitment ceremony, is kind of looking at, obviously with this whole thing with Paul, we've obviously talked about Adrian. It's a bit of a theoretical, hypothetical.
Of course.
Is that, do you think MAFS capitalises off of trauma?
Here we go. That this is a huge question, and the answer is a capital Y for yes. Like genuinely,
Yes.
there's we can talk until the cows come home about reality shows, capitalizing on different aspects of the human experience and manipulating not just the contestants, but the audience. But this one specifically, it feels like, again, the wool has been pulled back. The curtain's been pulled back. MAFS definitively, absolutely does. And keeping him on the show really proves that. And I know that you have had a lot to think about with this as well.
I've thought about it quite a bit today.
Tell us about it.
Just today makes it sound like I haven't thought about it
Just
that much
today.
at all.
I jotted a couple of lines.
I've given thought to it the past hour. No.
Let's hear it.
I think that, it does. I completely agree, obviously. And I think it does it in a few different ways. I think it starts at the very beginning in the selection process of the cast members.
Absolutely.
And if you have a look at whether it's the experts, the producers, whoever does select cast, they do often typically tend to have some sort of background, whether it be a particular insecurity, whether it be a history of mental health issues, some sort of, aspect of like challenge in their life, or even just something like being particularly vulnerable, from an ethnic minority.
Yep.
They do choose people who would naturally be more likely to be exploited in the process of filming.
100%.
And I think we see this concerningly, especially with the women of this season.
Totally.
We see Afina, who is a single mother and also a person of colour, paired with Adrian, who
has his dream board,
is a man-child that probably acts younger than her son.
Yeah.
And also has a history of charges made against him, or a charge made against him, for domestic violence.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, well, that's a pretty irresponsible matchup. You then have Tony and Morena.
Of course.
And Morena obviously is the age she is. And Tony wants someone that can give her a baby.
Yeah,
apparently.
Apparently.
And I think you just see in a lot of the couplings, and I think the most obvious one, to be honest, would have been Katie and Tim.
Yep.
She was so incredibly insecure about her appearance,
but
and not
so
only
willing to
do
go.
they select that person, because everyone has their own baggage, right?
Of course.
So if it was just people with baggage, you couldn't really make this argument. But it's selecting a person and then leveraging that particular insecurity or vulnerability against them through the selection of their partner who they know is going to inevitably trigger them.
Yes.
And that is really fucked up.
It is. It absolutely fucking
and
is.
it's not in the name of love, let me tell you.
No, it is not, Katya.
And so I think that's what happens at the very, very start. And then you add in, once you start filming, you've got 16-hour film days sometimes. You've got being completely isolated from the outside world and other couples, even through curfews, not having access to your phones. So you're living in this absolute mass vacuum.
It's a bubble.
And then being asked and encouraged to incite drama, start things. There
When you
have
get to
been
this point
rumours
in
that
the show.
people get paid to add those things.
Probably.
Whether those are true or not is separate. And so all of a sudden, and then you add booze at the dinner parties to this. And what do you get? An absolute fucking catastrophe.
Yes.
Great reality television.
It is fantastic
but for
TV.
all the wrong reasons.
Exactly. And there is an argument that all reality television, especially ones that focus on these kind of relationships, you can go to The Bachelor and everything too, that it is inherently exploitative, 100%. But it does make good reality TV.
Well,
For
as
what reason?
viewers, arguably we are complicit in it.
Absolutely.
You
We are
know?
active
There's a lot of
participants in
people
it.
calling for it to be, cancelled. And bear in mind, I say all of this and I will be watching all of the episodes.
Of course.
Tuning into Sunday night's commitment ceremony.
Of course.
But I think it's really interesting, and I think it's important at the very least that you engage in this type of thinking, because you go, why is trauma on TV our form of entertainment?
Exactly. And I've had a similar experience as well, because as we all know, I work in TV, I work in media, and it's hard for me to watch any show, especially a reality show, without seeing the pulleys and wires and everything. But especially when it comes to this aspect too, I feel like it's something that most people watching might not be aware of, but should be watching with this critical eye of obviously not everything that's being presented to you is extremely accurate or as it seems. And that, of course, it is exploitative of the people that are on there from the get-go.
I know. And I think, the devil's advocate will claim and come out and say, well, it's season 12, you know what you're signing up for.
Sure.
And to an extent, that is true. I don't think it's really one of those experiences that no matter how hard you try, you can really fully prepare yourself for and understand until you've undergone it.
Totally.
And,
This is the most well-oiled machine on reality TV.
And it's just an absolute juggernaut, right? And I think a lot of people will also say, well, everyone going on there usually has an ulterior motive as well. They gain something from it. They get comped for because they're technically employees of Nine.
I would say 90% of the time,
They get paid. They'll end up being influencers, this, that, whatever. The problem is that it's season 12. It's not season 1.
Yeah.
There's no more Evelyn Ellis's. The days of getting hundreds of thousands of followers from just featuring on MAFS are long gone.
Yeah.
You'll get a breakout character every now and then, sure, but that's not going to be the reality for most people, that they can just go into a full-time influencing career. So you take that out, and then all you're left with is the compensation that you're getting for actually doing the show, which is
and then
as
maybe
little as they
getting
can possibly
invited
pay
to
you
a couple
for.
of media events or becoming a small time Sydney influencer.
Yeah,
Sorry, am I
literally.
talking from experience of other people? Maybe.
And all of a sudden you're getting paid $100 a day to share your life traumas and embarrassment and naked body half the time on national television.
Yeah.
Worst trade deal in the history of trade deals.
100%.
That's all I'll say.
And there are some people I feel genuinely do come in with good intentions that actually want to get something out of the experience. Again, Katie, I genuinely want to believe, and I do believe that she went on the show really, really wanting to get something out of it, really actually wanting to get a relationship out of it, in the same way that when you go back and watch early 2000s episodes of The Bachelor and you actually see these people wanting to marry someone.
Yeah.
Genuinely, not before the influencer days.
Yeah.
You get that every once in a blue moon, and it's still
the Cam
exploited.
And Jules vibe. Yeah, exactly.
It's still exploited.
And you know what? The question is any amount of money really worth selling your soul to MAFS? I would say
absolutely yes.
no.
And we'll see you next week.